the Bhagavad Gita as it is, in the 4th chapter, text 11, chapter is called Transcendental Knowledge. Sanskrit goes like this: Yayatamam prabhatyante tamstataiva bhajamyaham mamavadmanuvatante manushya parcha sarvashaha. Translation: As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follow my path in all respect, O son of Pritha. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Everyone is searching for Krishna in the different aspects of his manifestation. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is partially realized in his impersonal Brahmajyoti effulgence, and as the all-pervading Supersoul dwelling within everything, including the particle of atoms. But Krishna is fully realized only by his pure devotees. Consequently, Krishna is the object of everyone's realization, and thus anyone and everyone is satisfied according to one's desire to have him. In the transcendental world also, Krishna reciprocates with his pure devotees in the transcendental attitude, just as the devotees want him. One devotee may want Krishna as the Supreme Master, another as his personal friend, another as his son, and still another as his lover. Krishna rewards all the devotees equally according to their different intensities of love for him. In the material world, the same reciprocation of feelings are there, and they are equally exchanged by the Lord with the different types of worshippers. The pure devotees, both here and in the transcendental abode, associate with him in person and are able to render personal service to the Lord, and thus derive transcendental bliss in his loving service. As for those who are impersonalists and who wants to commit spiritual suicide by annihilating the individual existence of the living entity, Krishna helps also by absorbing them in his effulgence. Such impersonalists do not agree to accept the eternal blissful personality of Godhead. Consequently, they cannot relish the bliss of transcendental personal service to the Lord, having extinguished their individuality. Some of them, who are not firmly situated even in the impersonal existence, return to this material field to exhibit their dormant desires for activities. They are not admitted into the spiritual planets, but they are again given a chance to act on the material planets. For those who are fruitive workers, the Lord awards the desired result of their prescribed duties as the Yajnashvara, and those who are yogis seeking mystic powers are awarded such powers. In other words, everyone is dependent for success upon his mercy alone, and all kinds of spiritual processes are but different degrees of success on the same path. Unless therefore one comes to the highest perfection of Krishna consciousness, all attempts remains imperfect, as it is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.10. Akarma sarva karma moksha karma udharati tivrena bhakti yogina yatita purusham param. Whether one is without desires, the condition of a devotee, or is desires of all fruitive results, or is after liberation, one should with all efforts try to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead for complete perfection, culminating in Krishna consciousness. So the verse again: As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follow my path in all respect, O son of Pritha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityananda Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shura Paschachari Shatare. As Krishna is saying here, everybody is actually and ultimately searching for him. Krishna is God, and I can actually relate to and understand why many people, maybe we can even say most people, especially in the Western world, don't believe in God. Because sometimes when I have discussion with people, and they say, no, I don't want to hear about this, I don't believe in God. So I often ask them, how is the God that you don't believe in? And that's quite interesting, because then they have to explain what kind of God they don't believe in. Because there has to be some kind of definition. And mostly it's like this old man, taking count of all our activities and either punishing us or rewarding us. Or like, give us today our daily bread, the deliverer, that giving us all our needs, fulfilling all our needs. The one we can pray to when we are in troubles. And that's many people that have that kind of relationship with God. It's someone when you're in trouble, somewhere you can go and pray, please help, can you help me out here? And that's true, but there's much more to it than that. So if that limited understanding is your conception of God, to some degree I can understand that people choose not to believe in such a God. Because it's very weak. So the Prabhupada gives the example like you see a mountain from a distance. So you'll see some blurry thing, Prabhupada says like a cloud. It can look like a cloud. Far in the distance you see a mountain. You can't really distinguish is it a mountain or is it a cloud or what is it. But as you come closer, you see more and more, oh, it's a mountain. And as you come even closer, you see textures in the mountains, you see trees. And when you come very close, you see maybe even animals running around there. You can even start climbing the mountain. So it's all different views, all different conceptions, all different ideas of the same mountain. But as you come closer, you understand really it's a mountain. When you see it from a distance, you don't know. It's something blurry. So this is often the conception people have of God. It's something, I can't really define it or what it is. So we like to today, and actually maybe it's good there's not so any new people, it's only old people, people who've been here before. Because normally we speak about very basic philosophy. Because that is where the whole thing starts. If you haven't understood you are not this body, you can't understand your relationship with God. Because our real relationship with God, or with Krishna, is not through this body. It is through the soul. So unless we have that foundation that we are not the body, but we are pure spirit souls, we can not enter into the highest understandings. We are simply not mature enough. Like you start in first grade and then you go upwards. If you start directly in high school, you wouldn't be able to understand anything. So in the same way, unless this foundation is there, it's very difficult to understand who is God and understand all the features and all the personal traits of God. So we will walk very carefully into this area today. I summarized some of the most beautiful purport. Prabhupada gives so many beautiful things here in this purport. So I summarized some of them for you, and then we can discuss and it'll become more scientific or more easy to grasp, because this is very complicated and it's a high topic. So we should approach it like children, trying to understand what it's like to be an adult. Normally to small children, you won't explain a child 5 years old the intricacies of sexual relationships. That will not be proper. But as the child grows up, naturally the child will understand. And then at some point in age, when the child is 14, 15, maybe you start explaining, this is what sexual relationships is about. But if you do it in a very premature age, the child will not be able to understand and he will just misunderstand. So this is really, that should be our approach today. That we can't really understand all this, but in another sense we have to. Because if we have this impersonal understanding of God, if we have this vague understanding of God, we will never develop love of God. Because you can't have love to anything but a person. And if you don't know anything about the person, how can there be any question of love? So the Vedic scriptures, this most perfect knowledge described in the Vedic scriptures, describes really who we are and what is the relationship we have with God and who is Krishna. What is he doing? Who is he together with? Where is he living? Etc. So the first point Prabhupada makes in the purport is everyone is searching for Krishna in the different aspects of his manifestation. And this is actually the next last line in the verse. Maha Vatman Vatanti. Manusha Pacha Sarvacha, 2 last lines. Mama Vatman Vatante, Vatma means path. So Krishna says, everyone is ultimately following my path. Everyone is actually looking for Krishna. That is what being said here. But some look more directly, like the devotees. They're searching for Krishna. They know what they're looking for. But people who are not so developed in consciousness, people who are covered, who can't really see clearly, they will search for God in things in the material world. They will have it like, God is money. This is most people, they won't say it, but they are worshipping money as they will God. Is it? They are working hard many hours a day. I often think if we were working so hard for developing love of God, then we would be pure devotees, as many people are working for money. So we are all looking for God. Everyone, without exception. And some are looking for Him in adventure. Whatever we are looking for in the material world, actually Krishna is that principle. Krishna is the principle in money, or more correctly, wealth. We're all looking for wealth. Krishna is that principle. Actually, Krishna is Bhagavan, he's the most wealthy person. But also the principal wealth is coming from Krishna, as is everything else. Or adventure. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, I'm adventure. So people are jumping out in parachutes or paragliding or doing so many crazy things to experience some excitement, because their life is just so dull or boring. So we need some excitement in our lives. So let's jump from a mountain. Let's jump from an airplane in 10,000 feet height. Let's do something to get some adrenaline going. Just to experience something, because that is ultimately what we are looking for. We are looking for the ultimate adventure. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is partially realized in His impersonal Brahmajyoti effulgence and as the all-pervading Super Soul dwelling within everyone, including the particle atoms. But Krishna is fully realized only by His pure devotees. So this is described in the very, very beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, what is coming just after Bhagavad Gita. Beautiful scripture. Saying, Vadanti tat tatvat vidas tatvam yat jnanam atvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti sabhyate. Vadanti tat tatvat vidas tatva vidas. Those persons who are really looking for the truth, they have concluded that this non-dual substance, this is beautifully described, non-dual substance, remember this. This non-dual substance is realized in 3 different aspects. In the impersonal aspect, as the Brahmajyoti or Nirvana, the light emanating from the Lord, and as the intuition, God in our hearts giving us intuition, and ultimately as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So this starts after people have understood, no, God is more than just nature, God is more than just the principle in money, God is more than just jumping from an airplane. There's more to it than that. I'm looking for more than that. And the proof is that all activities we do, even jumping from airplanes, whatever, becomes boring at one point. At one point you need to do something else. Because it's just, oh, I did this so many times, there's no more juice there. So then you need to do some other activity. So when people have understood that that is not where God to be found, they take the first path to really look as God. Who is God? Now it's not just money or doing some activity, but who is God? Who is taking care of everything? What is ultimately the goal of life? What am I ultimately searching for? And the first thing they will come to, and I can even say that people will do it by, is the impersonal aspect of the Lord. So then again, when you see the mountains from a distance, you will see, oh, some blurry thing out there. Right? Very weak. You can't really understand what it is. And that's very, very dangerous. Because if one stays there, that means staying in the material world. Actually, it said they can come to what the Buddhists call nirvana, and what we call Brahmajyoti, the effulgence of the Lord. They can come to this place where there's no activity, where there's no suffering. And that's, many have the philosophy that I just want, I've been suffering so much. I am suffering so much. So let's just cease suffering. Let's find a method of which we can become completely rid of all suffering. Neti, neti, neti. This is not it, this is not it, this is not it. They neglect all the material, mostly relationships, but everything material. So it just comes to a point that everything is nothing. That's liberation, that everything is nothing. So if you meditate like that your whole life, as Krishna is saying here, Krishna reciprocates with everyone. So the way he reciprocates with those persons is he gives them the ability or possibility to merge into this effulgence of himself. So this is a place where there's no suffering, none whatsoever. But there's also no real joy. Because we are persons. And where do we find real joy? In relationships. There's no relationship there. Actually, there's no activity there, because that's what they wanted. So Krishna reciprocates. That's why he says, whatever people want, I give it to them according to their surrender. So I give to them whatever they want. So if people have that kind of desire, Krishna will fulfill that desire. But because he's so extremely merciful, he gives them a way out. At one point, and we can speak millions of lifetimes or billions of years, at one point it simply becomes too boring. And then what happens? You get desires again. And then Bhagavatam says, you simply fall down again. Leave that place and come back to the material world. Come back to this place. So then you're back at square one. Actually, that's not square one, but you're back where you started. And then you have to again go through all the same problems. What is God? Who is God? Where can I find Him? If you're inquisitive, and if you're very fortunate, you reach the next point. Maybe intuition. What is that? Can you explain intuition? So people start thinking, what is this? Maybe God is speaking from within my heart. And if they're very fortunate and study the Vedic literatures, that will be confirmed. He is. Savasya cham ridi sanivisto matak smitya jnanam apahanamcha. This is a Savasya. Ridi means the heart. Savasya cham ridi sanivisto. I'm situated in the heart of all living entities. And matak smitya jnanam apahanamcha. From me come all knowledge, all remembrance, and also forgetfulness. So Krishna gives everything to us because he's situated in our hearts. So he's directing us. Yantra Rudhani Maya, we have seated as on a machine, and Krishna is constantly directing our wanderings in this world. So we have a desire, and the Super Soul is sitting sanctioning. Upadrashta and Anumanta. Sanctioning and permitting. So if we have a karma, we have a desire for a certain activity, if we have the karma for it, Krishna will, in the Super Soul, say, okay, here you have it. So he will sanction, and nothing, if it's not sanctioned by Krishna, the Super Soul in the heart, it won't happen. Simply, you can work on from here to eternity, to lives of Brahma, long time. You won't reach it. The only possibility of reaching anything is when Krishna sanctions it. Nothing can happen without it. Prabhupada used to say, not even a blade of grass moves in the wind without being sanctioned by God. So when you come to this fortunate situation where you understand, okay, Krishna is this intuition, Krishna is giving permission and facilities. You start worshipping in that form. That's better, but still it's not perfect. Because also the Super Soul only belongs to the material world. The intuition is only there in this material place. It is not in the spiritual world. So the problem, even if you worship the Super Soul, if you're in this material world, there will still be dukkha lava sasvata. This is a place where there's always suffering, no matter what you do. The material world is made for it. Like the water is meant to be wet, the material world is meant to give dukkha, unhappiness, suffering. That's just how it is. But there is another world, parastasmat. There is another world that is much better, Krishna says, the real world, the original place, the spiritual world. We are spiritual living entities. How can we think we can be happy in a material place? Everything is temporary. So there's a real place, and Krishna says that place you can come to if you understand that I'm a person, and we start to develop a personal relationship. Then I invite you back home, back to this place you ultimately lived. So that understanding the Bhagavan feature, the personal form of the Lord. And that's where you're home. That's where you're home. So when we reach that point, of course, the more we realize it, internalize it, the more it becomes solid in our hearts. And that is needed until we get the full realization. It's not enough to know theoretically or to some degree, okay, Krishna is a person, you need to have a loving relationship with him. So this we come to now, very, very important and very high topic. Oh, first there's this one, sorry. As for those who are impersonalists and wants to commit spiritual suicide by annihilating the individual existence of the living entity, Krishna helps also by absorbing them into his effulgence, what we just spoke about. Such impersonalists do not agree to accept the eternal blissful personality of Godhead. Consequently, they cannot relish the bliss of transcendental personal service to the Lord, having extinguished their personality. So, very terrible situation. Srila Prabhupada says next in the purport, one devotee may want Krishna as the Supreme Master, and others still as his personal friend, and other as his son, and still another as his lover. Krishna rewards all the devotees equally according to their different tendencies of love for him. So when we see any kind of fun, experiences, relationship we have in this world, it's all with persons, isn't it? When we really feel fun, you can let's make a little experiment. You can have anything you want. I think I gave this example before. You'll be set in a room where it can be a huge, it can be a house, palace, whatever. You have everything you want, but not one person. You can't have one person inside. You can have the best phone, you can have the best games, you can have the best food, you can have everything. How long until you get home? 2 days? A week? 14 days? A month? No more than that. You just, hey, give me a person here, a mouse, a cat, anything. Right? Just something I can relate to. So this is what the spiritual world is all about. This is what life is all about. So in the spiritual world there's relationships. And what kind of relationships do we have? We have parents, we have friends, we have, to some degree we have servants. On work maybe somebody is lower than us, and maybe you can say even we have in the family hierarchy, there's somebody serving more the others. And we have, as parents I mentioned, we have loving relationships. Boyfriend, girlfriends, husbands, wives. And also there's a neutral relationship. That's with computers and the tables and all these things, gadgets we have. That's a neutral relationship, it's not personal. So in the same way, Krishna, he created this spiritual world, the place where everything is perfect. It's full of relationships. Actually, nothing there is inert matter, but we'll not go into that now. But then Krishna has relationships, as he can have with a friend. He has a neutrality with cows and plants. And he has servants helping him, serving him. And he has a parent. Because Krishna likes to have, like we like this relationship, somebody is telling us what to do, and also to facilitate his devotee, that a person might have that kind of relationship with God. He wants to be a superior position to God, like a mother or father, or an elder brother, or an older person, giving advice, helping Krishna. So that is the spiritual world. And that's also loving relationships, conjugal relationships. The pure devotees both here and in the transcendental abode associate with him in person and are able to render personal service to the Lord and thus derive transcendental bliss in his loving service. Just to confirm what I just said. So now I have some pictures of what it's like, because all I'm speaking is just theory to some extent. But Prabhupada made so many, he insisted actually that in his books there would be so many pictures. Prabhupada used to call them windows into the spiritual world. So how? Because we can see, there's so many descriptions of Krishna, as I mentioned, what he looks like, etc., who he's together with. But it's difficult for us to really imagine what does Krishna really look like. And actually we can't really see it with these eyes. It's very, like Krishna says in the 11th chapter to Arjuna, I give you divine eyes, then you can see him. So we can't really, but we can get some idea. Because Krishna cannot manifest well, he can actually, but it's not easy to see Krishna in a picture. We have pictures here, right? But imagine Krishna just walked in the door. Would it be a different experience? Yes, it would. So, but it can give us some idea really who is Krishna. So here I have some pictures for you. Here Krishna is being dressed by his mother, Yasoda, and he has Radhak or Pathak, one of them, maybe it's in Balaram, but one of them, let's say it's Radhak or Pathak, they are in the servitor mood. They are serving Krishna, he is helping him with putting on his ankle belts. So they are helping Krishna dressing, helping him, facilitating him in the morning, whenever. And then we have, this is one of my favorite pictures, Krishna running through the forest of Vrindavan. And maybe you see this picture here, you have Krishna and Balaram, Krishna and his brother, he has a brother in the spiritual world, and he has all his cowherd friends, and they're going out and pasturing with the cows and the calves. And an interesting thing here, besides the relationships and all the fun and natural life, is you don't see any chimneys here, or factories, or chemtrails, if anyone knows what that is. Or you don't see all these things in this material world that's destroying the world. That is not there. This is the world. You can go in this lake and you can drink the water. Don't do that in the material world anymore. You can't anymore. Just when I was a child, you could some places. Now you can't. You get sick. So this is the most beautiful place, the spiritual world. That's the place where everything is perfect. What we are looking for in this world, where everything is perfect, when there's no anxieties, where everything is built on loving relationships. This is the spiritual world. So Krishna is here having fun with his friends, they're running around playing. And sometimes even Krishna is naughty, because he knows that gives pleasure to the one who is his elders, his mother, and they love it. And there's all the other friends of Krishna's mother, all the other grown-ups. So Krishna will go to their houses and then he will steal their butter and their yogurt. And then here you can see them in the background, I hope, up there. They're coming there, and now soon they will see Krishna and Balaram, and they will catch them, and then they will take them to Krishna's mother and see what your son did. He's stealing our butter, and now he's eating it all, and when he can't eat anymore, he starts feeding the monkeys. What kind of son do you have? And then Mother Yasoda has become very apologetic, and she starts explaining, okay, I'll chastise him. Listen, no, please don't chastise him. We love when he comes and takes our butter. So all these relationships are there. So Krishna is not stealing butter because he's hungry. He's the Supreme Personality of God, and he has everything he needs. But he does because that's a relationship. It gives pleasure to the ones Krishna is stealing butter from. It even gives pleasure to Mother Yasoda. Mother Yasoda, she will go out, she will find the best milking cows. She has many, they have many. And then she will go over all of Braj. You just saw a small picture of the spiritual world. She will walk all over the place, find where there's most soft green grass. And she will find the best place, and she will take the best cows and bring them to the best place, so they eat the best grass, so they can give the best milk, and then she gives that to Krishna. But still Krishna goes and steals from the others. Krishna, I'm trying my best to give you everything, but still you go stealing. And then he's playing with his friends, having fun all day. And then when he becomes tired, actually he is Balaram getting tired, Krishna's brother. And Krishna will sit and massage his feet and is in the lap of another boy. Get relationships, love. Very rare in this world, actually practically non-existent. So it's all built on love, pure love. That's real life. And then when they finish, they'll sit down and take prasadam, as we will soon do. Sit down and take prasadam, eat together. Nice food. And then we just mentioned Krishna has a mother, so he's sitting there with his mother. Imagine this relationship. Can you